Hey everyone, happy Monday. Welcome to Ask Me Monday. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. My hair's still wet. I had attempted to get out of Pilates wear for you, but I really just got to getting my hair out of a ponytail. See, I'm still in, I went to the gym, still in workout pants and stuff. I know you don't care. I'm just letting you know. So hey, good to see you-ish. I mean, I'm not seeing you, but I'm pretending I can. This week, what's going on? There is a tutorial going around on the Facebooks of this particular scarf. It's kind of a triangle. Well, it's more crescent-shaped scarf. It's really cleverly designed by the folks over at Your Inspirations. It's got some real subtle detailing, and it's all garter, but the yarn does the work. So you can look on my Facebook page or the Your Inspirations Facebook page for that tutorial. I show you there. I actually snagged this one. I haven't returned it because I really dig it. Even though I don't normally wear these colors, I dig it. Also, on both my website and the Clover blog, I have a tutorial for making these pretty adorable little Christmas tree ornaments. I'm kind of obsessed. So they're needle felted. So it starts out with just plain roving, and you use this needle felting tool, which I really like because I normally had just used a single needle, but this has 5, and also because it has this little area, you're not always poking yourself. So you just use that, and you can use either just foam, or there's this little bristly, looks like a brush, but it's a mat, and you put all the roving there, and you just needle felt using a cookie cutter as a guide. So I have the tutorial for that up on my website and the Clover blog. These are really great for office gifts or gift toppers, or just to decorate your own tree, and really fun to make. So other than that, oh, I know, I just announced the next knit along for Knit Simple. For those of you that don't know, every issue I have a column, a Knit Along with Vickie Howell column in Knit Simple magazine, and I want to say this is the 16th one that I've done with them, and it's going to be for all of you who are having a little bit of the anxiety, and I'm just projecting, but is anybody else feeling a little panicky that tomorrow's December 1st? I'm like having to talk myself down. I feel like I've been talking about Christmas and the holidays since July, but now it's on. So this knit along is a cowl made out of mega bulky yarn, and I think it took me like 3 hours to make it. It's a great sort of high impact. It speaks to the big knits trend, but without being like ridiculous, because most of us can't wear, the huge runway knits, but so you can still be on trend, and also a great quick gift. So that kicks off, I believe it's December 15th, but I have that. Also, I created an event on my Facebook page, so check that out and please join me. And that is pretty much it for updates. Oh, one last thing. For those of you that entered my birthday giveaway, hold fast. I'm getting to it, I promise. I just got back from a trip for the holidays for Thanksgiving, so I will choose winners and post those over the next week or so. I'm actually headed off to New York at the end of this week for the next Knit Simple, the next round of Knit Simple columns. I think I've told some of you that we shoot the entire year at one time every year in New York. So I'm going to try, I don't know, I'll try and get it posted before then, but if not, it'll be right after then. So we had a few questions that I wanted to get to today. As a total side note, really excited about this little find I just picked up from Target yesterday. This little guy has a sweater in his future, so stay tuned. It's the little things, but I digress. So Suzanne asked, at what age did I start knitting and crocheting? I started to crochet when I was 8. My mom taught me. And she also tried to teach me how to knit, but I hated it. I think there was something about my fingers just not being limber enough. I don't know. I just didn't get it. I didn't get it. And then when I was in my late 20s, maybe, I was pregnant with my second son, and you're kind of more open to the whole knitting thing when you're pregnant. A friend of mine said, And I had already had like a craft business by then, and I did every other craft imaginable. I had a friend that said, "You're the craftiest person I know. It's crazy you're not knitting." There was a huge resurgence. This would have been maybe about 2000, 2001. And she took me down to La Knitterie Parisienne, which is it's a knitting shop in California. And I learned then, and it was just one of those things that clicked, and I have never stopped for a day since then. So the next question, actually, there's two questions that I'm going to demo. The last question that I'm going to take that was posted previously, and I will scroll through here and see if there's anything I can answer quickly, was from Christine. She wanted to know how many chains she should use for just a basic beginner scarf. So the cool thing about crochet is that you can just crochet a chain to the length that you want. So you can just say that you want a scarf that's, 8 inches wide. Then you can just do a chain that's that wide. But then from there, it depends on what stitch you're using. So if you're doing a crocheted scarf that's only in single crochet, then you want to add 1 chain. For half double crochet, you're going to add 2 chains. For double crochet, you're going to add 3 chains to that. And for triple or treble crochet, you're going to add 4 chains to that. And these are the US terms, by the way. I know that in the UK, the terms are a little bit different. And what that is because those last chains are going to create the height of whatever stitch that you're using. So if you're doing single crochet, it's sort of 1 chain is the right height. And then the stitches, if you're doing double crochet, it's higher. And then treble crochet is the highest of the ones that I mentioned. So that's just sort of a kind of quickie answer, not knowing what stitch you're going to use. So let me just do a quick scroll through and see if there's anything else before I start a demo. Okay, Janet, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. She says she loves the letter decor in the back. Any tips on that? I've got some, but they're plain, and she wants to add some color. So yeah, I actually, let me take this down. So these letters are just the Heidi Swap letters that you can get at Michael's. They're on an end cap almost always. And she has templates so that you can, add scrapbook paper or paint or whatever. What I actually did is I went to a copy store and I copied, if you look really closely, I photocopied a knit piece. It was actually a poncho from Knit Simple to make paper. And I just turned paper and then I glued them on and I did the same. That's the A. The M was actually a piece that I wove. And I just color copied them, and I made it some extra copies. I'm actually going to use the rest of the paper to wrap presents in for the holidays. It's just another way to sort of infuse knitting or crochet or weaving, or, you could do it with fabric into your, everyday lives. Okay, so the question that I got the most today, for some reason, by far, was how to use the Clover Pompom Maker. So I'm going to demo that. And then after that, I'm going to show a 3-needle bind off and knitting, and I'll talk to you a little bit about both of those. Actually, you know what? Let's reverse that. Let me do the 3-needle bind off first. So this was a question from Teresa, and she wanted to know how to knit your ends together without showing a seam. So if you're going to knit them together, you're almost going to always see a little bit of a seam because you're creating a binding when you knit. If you really want it to be seamless, you should use a Kitchener stitch, but that is not knitted. That's actually a form of embroidering. And it's a little bit more complex than what I'm going to show you today. But a great way to create a seam without having to sew together is with a 3-needle bind off. So I'm going to turn the camera in a bit, but I'll just show you right here. You keep your stitches live on the 2 pieces that you have that you want to seam together, and you're going to hold them on their needles parallel, and you want to make sure that they're on the same needles. And now I'm going to flip the camera around allegedly and show you how to work them together. Okay, so I would have, if I were doing a big piece, I would have a whole new working yarn, which would be attached to the ball yarn. So just suspension of disbelief there. We don't need the second tail. Okay, so then you're going to introduce a 3rd needle in the same size as whatever needles you're using over there. You're going to hold them parallel, and you're going to insert your needle as if to knit into the first needle on the front needle, the first stitch on the front needle, and then the first stitch on the back needle, so that can you see that? So that your needle's through both of them. And then you're going to knit them both together as if they were one. Let that fall off. So you've turned the front and back stitch into one united in love stitch on your right hand needle, all right? Okay, so then you're going to do that again with the next two stitches. So knit the front and back stitches together. Oops. Well, for the love of Pete. Okay. And now you're going to bind off as you would if you were just binding off normally. You're going to take the second stitch and let it pass over the first and drop off. Okay, I'm going to show you one more time. So, whoops. This is a lot easier to do when you're not trying to straddle a camera with your arms. Okay, so you knit the next stitch together, let that fall off. Just take one of the needles, doesn't matter which one, slide it over and let it pass. And let me see if I can show you. You can see how the piece is now seaming together. And that's all there is to it. It's really easy, and this is really great for any time you need a really strong join. I just spilled my water everywhere. Awesome. Hold on one second. That's how you know it's live, people. All right, so next I'm going to show you, what I was going to say is it's really great for shoulders or anything for kids that's going to get a lot of wear. Okay, so next I'm going to show you how to make a pom-pom using the Clover pom-pom maker. I got it started because it would be like watching paint dry if I did this from the beginning. Oh my gosh, you guys should see this. I have like La Croix sparkling water all over my face right now. It like splashed up at me. Okay, so I started it just so you wouldn't have to watch the whole thing. But I'm going to walk you through just a little bit. So the piece opens like this. And so you're going to wrap around one side at a time. So you wrap around both pieces, and you want to do it so it's pretty thick. You don't want to see any of the plastic underneath. So when you've done that, then you close the one side. And I usually take the little tail from the last piece, and I just use this little area right here, the little handles right here, just to hold it secure. Okay, and then you start wrapping yarn on the other side. And there's no special method. Like I said, you know, I can tell there that that's not enough because I can see the blue. And you want to kind of make it as even as possible. Not kind of. You want to definitely make it as even as possible so that you won't have a completely scraggly pom-pom. So I'm just gonna go in and out of frame just because of my angle, but bear with me. And what's great about this is that you don't have to worry about having, you know, making, like if you're working on a project like a wreath or a garland or anything where you want the pom-poms to look relatively similar, you don't really have, this takes the worry out of this because this creates a pretty uniform pom-pom every time. And you could, you know, you could do half and half, you could do different colors on each side, or you could double strand, whatever. And there's different sizes in these. This is just sort of the standard medium version, I think. Yarn fibers everywhere. Okay, so then you're done with that. You're going to close it and just kind of leave the yarn hanging. And then snip it. And so you just have this. Okay, so from here it's time to cut. And this will hopefully hold it all in place while you cut, right? So you're just going to snip. You're going along the two pieces. There's this little seam, like a little valley that's perfect for your scissors. Okay, so that's one side. scissors sharpened. I don't think I've ever gotten them sharpened. That's so bad. Okay, so now it looks like I've got all my pieces, but do not open it yet because you will have little pieces of yarn flying everywhere. Okay, so now you need a piece to tie around it. I'm using roving yarn. This is sheepish, so I would not recommend using that to tie because it'll rip. Roving yarn is just not strong in that way. The directions say to use string. If you don't have string, just another piece of yarn is fine, just as long as it's a plied yarn, meaning these are plies. Can you see that? Plies just mean a bunch of different strands that are then sort of twisted together, and that creates more strength. So then you want to wrap it around, and you're going to go in that same valley that you just cut through, and you're going to tie. And when you tie, you want to pull relatively firmly. I mean, don't go crazy because your yarn will break. That's happened to me, which I guess is why they probably say string is a better option, but I never have string laying around. Okay, so now that should be good. So now you want to just open the sides. And I don't think that it probably doesn't matter what order. I just tend to do one side. Look at the little pretty pom. What's holding on to here? Oh, okay, sorry. Cut, and then you just pull it off. Comes off like that. And then you just give it a little fluff. And look at that. I mean, honestly, like I barely need to do any, I might do a little, like if there's a little excess, I might do a little haircut, but honestly, like that's just being picky. It looks really good just coming right out of it. Yeah, like I might get a little, but that's one of those things where I could like get all crazy. And that's really it. It's super easy, and this is really fun for kids to do too. And you're always going to get one that's the same size every time, which I love about that. So that's really all there is to it. I'm going to turn the, hopefully my makeup's not running from that water that flew all over me. So that's all there is to it. So this will be the last time I'll talk to you before, actually no, ignore that. I will be back next Monday because I'm coming back Sunday from New York. So thank you again for spending some Monday time with me. I will try to answer questions that are left on the board as soon as I can. And I will be, as usual, posting more project inspiration. And I hope that you are having a happy handmade holidays. Remember, go back to look at my video. I think it was number 10, where I talk about the different tiers of people to make for, so you don't make yourself crazy. And I hope you have a great rest of the week. All right, bye guys.